Hey, my name is Tristan, and this is going to be the first module of how to close Facebook leads more than 30% of the time. You might be thinking, I have an 80% close rate. I don't need to watch this video. No, you fucking don't. That's including referrals, door knocking, people who were going to buy no matter what. They didn't even get another estimate. That's not how that works. When you are trying to scale a roofing business to over $1 million a month, you need consistent revenue from consistent sources. Facebook gives you that. What they don't give you is super lay down easy deals. It's not going to be the case for most of the leads because they clicked on an ad. They don't know your company. They've never seen you. They've heard nothing about you, most likely. And now you're trying to close them for $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 upfront on the first time meeting you ever. When you put it like that, it doesn't sound like such an easy feat. Now, does it? You're not closing 80% yet. I have clients that have closed 80% of everything I've sent them. But those are the top guys. And today I'm going to be giving you some of their tips on how they're able to close these leads so fucking well. One of them is doing $1 million a month from this source. So don't listen to me, listen to them. I'm just a communicator here. So the number one thing that we can first do to help improve our show rate is called a selfie video. A pre-appointment selfie video. You whip out your phone, preferably an iPhone. Don't do it through a CRM. Make sure the sales guy that's actually going to be doing the inspection and estimate, he does this. Before the appointment, you whip out your phone, record a quick selfie video, 15, 30 seconds, goes like this. Hey, lead name, my name's Tristan. Just want to put a face to the name real quick. I'm the one that's going to be conducting your inspection on Friday at 3 p.m. Super excited to see you. Super excited to meet you. Hopefully I can help out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop up there, document all the damages, come down, show you, put together a fair price, transparent estimate for you, and go over and answer any questions you might have. Looking forward to seeing you. See you on Friday. Something like that. See? And then boom, send that over. What that does is that builds the first point of rapport. So instead of hopping out of your truck, meeting the homeowner, maybe you're not in a good mood, maybe they're not in a good mood. This is the first time you're meeting. Boom, negative rapport can happen like that. We want to prevent that. The first time they interact with you should be positive. Send the video. It's going to get that first interaction. So by the time you show up, it's basically your second meeting because they've already seen you, heard your voice. They know who you are. Number two, just a quick tip I can give you. Two is going to be attic inspection. Now, those of you who know how to close are already doing this. Those of you who aren't doing this, don't close. So the reason the attic inspection is so important on any sort of estimate presentation is because if you don't get in the attic, you can't complete all of the inspection. You don't know if there's rotten plywood. You don't know if there's leaks that nobody can see. You don't know if there's mold in the attic. You don't know any of this. But this is to your benefit because you know who else doesn't know this? If they haven't done an attic inspection, all of the previous bids, all of the previous estimates. So it's even better if a homeowner has some bids, right? They haven't closed with any of them. You're able to get into their attic and nobody else could. So if the homeowner says, I don't want you in my attic, perfect. You're probably going to close the deal if you can get in that attic. One of my clients, Seth, he used this. He implemented the attic inspection. His close rate went from, I think, like low 20s, like 22%. He gained an extra 10% close just from this one tip because he was able to get in the attic. He would find damage that nobody else found. And immediately, it's not apples to apples. Quit saying that shit, by the way. It's not apples to apples anymore because they don't have that damage included. So their quote doesn't matter. Not only do they not have it included, they didn't find it. Let me say that again. They did not find that damage, and you did. So how can they trust that guy or look at his numbers seriously or any of that bullshit from there on out? That same client, Seth, the first time he conducted his attic inspection on one of the leads that I booked him, he closed it on the spot. The dude had 3 other quotes. My client came in higher and closed on the spot because he found damage that nobody else did in the attic, was able to include that on the estimate. And the homeowner said, you know what? I can tell you're the guy that's going to take care of me. I want to go with you. Let's get it going. Let's get on the schedule. Close the deal. Simple as that. Number 3, this could be for any contractor that's currently sending their estimates via email or writing it on a napkin. Don't fucking do that shit. You need an actual CRM that's optimized for sales, not for inspections, not for photos, not for coordinating jobs, for sales. That's how you make your money. You need it for sales. So what all my clients use that actually close, JobNimbus, which is going to tie into number 4 here. But JobNimbus, if you're not using JobNimbus, your CRM better be able to do 3-tier pricing, and it better be able to present them essentially a pamphlet, an actual demo presentation that you can go over on an iPad or on paper if you print it out in your truck during the first meeting. We are always presenting on the first, my handwriting's pretty bad, first meeting. Always present on the first meeting. If your booking came from me, they are ready to look at numbers on that meeting. I guarantee you. That's the expectation. We're getting an estimate. We're going over that with them on that appointment. That is why they are home. They want to look at numbers. They want to be sold. They want to be closed. If you're not presenting numbers, you can't close them. What happens is, if you don't, by the way, if you say, oh, I need to go back to the office and put the numbers together and then I'll come back out a different day, what time works best for you, they might book it. And in the meantime, they might sign with somebody else. They might get distracted by something else in life. People don't want to fucking deal with roofs. They want to go on about their life. They just want it taken care of by somebody they know is not going to scam them, by somebody who's not overcharging them, who has good reviews, is going to get the job done right. If you are doing that on 2 separate bookings, you now have another point in your funnel where they can drop off and not do the deal, because they can ignore you, they can ghost you, they can sign with somebody else, they can forget about you, they can push the project off. You don't want to do it. You want to present numbers on that appointment, assuming that at least 1 decision maker is there. And if you think you need 2 decision makers there, you need to learn objection handling and how to handle the partner objection, because you probably don't know how to do that yet, which is fine. I'll make another video on that later down the line. I'll help you close people, even if it's a 1-legger. Which, by the way, I always book 2-leggers. Sometimes it's a 1-legger, but I always try my best to book my clients, both decision makers. It's part of our script every single time. Anyway, JobNimbus, you're always presenting. You're going to present what is a 3-tier estimate. Three-tier estimate. What does that mean? For those of you that are not already doing this, I'm sure everybody's already doing this. It's been in the industry for a long time. It is good, better, best. Probably name it something else. Everybody's doing good, better, best, right? Name it something else. I don't know. Do gold or do diamond, gold, do platinum, diamond, gold, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, the purpose of this, not to actually give them 3 choices. You want a downsell, which is, let me clear the board. 3-tier estimate, good, better, best. Your first price that you drop is your shit the pants offer. Now, why is it called shit the pants offer? Well, I call it that because the purpose of this is to be so high that your real offer seems like a very low price. So the best way that I found to do this is include the best fucking shit, whether it's standing seam, metal roofing, or whether you want to go the, the luxury 3D architectural, I don't know, the highest of the highline architectural, the highest felt, the best drip edge, everything, gutters, downspout, fascia, soffit, siding, garage doors, everything. Just whatever you can do, make them shit their pants. It should be like double what you really want to sell them on. So maybe for this, maybe not double, maybe do like a good 50% increase, bake a good margin into that, like 40%. Some people who are rich enough, who you might never expect it, will go with your best offer. That's not what it's for though. It's to make them price anchor there, go, wow, that's really a lot of money. Get rid of that sticker shock before you get your real 20, 25, 30K, 36K offer down there. So then number 2 is going to be your actual, what you want to sell. So that's going to be your, good or technically best Good, better, best. Good, better. Okay, so this is going to be your better. This is going to be what you actually want to sell. Next is going to be your better, which is what you actually want to fucking sell. And so for that might be 30K, right? But remember, they don't get presented this until they've seen the, let's say 60K, right? Now they're like, and also don't do round numbers. Do 61,000, 61,433.22. Why do you need all these extra numbers? Because it seems more specific. It seems like it's actually doing something. It's not just a made up number, which it's not, but make it very, very specific. Do not round your prices, right? So your better sell is going to be 30 something, whatever, same principle. And then your bad one, the lowest tier one, where you're barely making any profit, the one that you don't want to sell, is going to be like your 3-tab, like minimum code. What I recommend, minimum code. Don't make any money on minimum code. That's why you're still going to profit 30% or at least 20% gross profit. You need to liquidate your ad spend on these people. If you can't handle the price objection, which I'll teach you how to do in a later module, you need to be able to liquidate your ad spend with a downsell, so you're not just losing the job. That doesn't mean do it for everyone, and don't present this up front. You only present it if there's an actual hard financial objection, where they say, here's my bank account. A homeowner, by the way, if they're unwilling to show you their phone and go, here's my bank account, I only have X, Y, and Z in it, I really can't do it. I really like the better option. I really can't do it. I only have this amount. Like, that's it. I'm sorry. At that point, you downsell, right? And that's what's called an open bank check, an open check, like open wallet check, right? If you have enough rapport, you'll know that they actually cannot afford it. They're not just saying it, because anybody can say anything. You shouldn't just believe what people say, right? And you shouldn't assume shit either, right? So 3, downsell. You don't present them all at the same time. You present this one first, and then you present the one you want to sell. And then if you have really hard financial objection, they're definitely not going to be able to do it. You do the downsell, which is minimal code, plus 20 to 30% gross profit to liquidate ad spend. Also, some feedback I've gotten from a client recently who invested in some sales training said you shouldn't show them the price of between the top two. And if you're including a whole roofing system in your top package and you have it written out really good where the value's there, right? They're getting X, Y, and Z. They're getting a full roofing system. They're getting ventilated attic. They're getting everything they need at the top of the top of the top. You know what it is. Most homeowners don't buy that. They just go with the shingles and the basic shit. Most homeowners are not just going to automatically opt for the most expensive option. Which is why if you cover up the price, don't present the price, present the 2 options first, go over the value, really get them emotionally bought in on the highest value one before they know the price. When you whip out the price, it's going to be a lot more convincing than showing them a 80K, 60K, 50K sticker price right off rip, right? If you just show them, hey, this is it, and here's it's 60K, they're going to just look at the 60K, shit their pants, which is still good. You want them to shit their pants, but they're not going to buy it unless they're just beyond wealthy. They're throwing money around. Very, very little, like 1% of leads in general do that. But, it's a free 1%. Then, obviously, they should want the better. Once they see the price, they're already financially anchored. Just get that. Downsell only occurs after you really, really have double, triple checked. They cannot afford anything else. A little anecdote. I've also heard that you can price per square foot, which is an easier yes because it's not a huge, crazy number up front. And plumbers do it that way. Not fucking plumbers, carpenters do it that way. Like floor people do it that way, ceramic, all that kind of stuff. It's all done that way. So you can do it that way. It's not going to seem really weird. And a homeowner doesn't know the square footage of the roof, and they don't know what a square is either, so never price per square. Homeowners don't know what that is. That's a roofing thing. They don't know what that means. Don't assume that they do either. Just because another roofer educated them on that doesn't mean you should relay on his work. 3-tier estimate. We just covered that one. Number 6. These are not in sequential order, by the way. These are just tips that are going to help you in the field. Number 6. This is very advanced. Identity labeling. I can guarantee you don't understand this if you're still watching. Anybody who did is so advanced, they probably would have clicked off by now. Identity labeling is when you get the homeowner to agree to a personal identity, an internal identity that later aligns with what decision you want them to do. You can't force it on them. You do not use force. It's seduction, not rape. Do not force it. What you do is you ask questions to them that get them to agree, yes, I am that kind of person. Do not make it obvious either. This comes way before the price drop. Do not do this anywhere near the price drop. They're going to consciously recognize what you're doing and block it out. It will not work. This is a hypnotic technique that is used to close 30K, 50K, 60K, 130K packages, right? Identity labeling. An identity label would be something like this. You know, Mr. Homeowner, I could be, no, you go, Mr. Homeowner, I feel like you're possibly the kind of guy who, you know, really wants to do things right the first time and take care of your home and, you know, not have to go back and do things later because it was all done right the first time. Like you're really like a quality oriented kind of guy. Am I totally off about that? Am I totally wrong on that? And it makes it really easy by saying, am I totally wrong? Am I totally off? Am I wrong about that? Right? Makes it really easy for them to say, no, you're not wrong about that. Because they can agree by saying no. They're much more comfortable telling you no than yes, because they feel like it's a sales interaction, which it is. So they'll say no. And by saying no, they're agreeing to that identity that you want them to behave as later on in the sale. So it's kind of complicated to do. Maybe I didn't give the best example right here, but think about it yourself. Think about how you can implement identity labeling into your sales process. If you're going to sell a large package, that's your goal. You want to sell the middle package even, that's your goal. Think about what kind of person buys that package and then label the homeowner with that identity. And you can use a double passive or double neutral on the front, which means they cannot disagree with it. Because if they can disagree with it, they will, and it won't work. So you might notice what I said there is, I feel, right? It's not gay. Guys, you could say I feel. I feel like you might be possibly, which is a triple neutral, which means there's really no way you can disagree with it. Because I'm not stating any facts. I'm stating my feelings that you might possibly be this kind of person who acts in this sort of way. And you always make it sound the best way possible so that if they say no, they sound like they're a shitty kind of person, right? Or if they don't agree to the identity label, they sound like a bad homeowner. Like, hey, Mr. Thomas, I feel like you might possibly be the kind of homeowner that wants to get things done right the first time. You don't want any corners cut. You want a quality job, right? And you don't want to have to go back later and deal with any sort of headaches. Am I wrong about that? Am I totally incorrect on that? And Mr. Thomas will say, no, you're totally right. You're right. I'm that kind of guy. Boom. Once they do that, they've bought into your frame of the identity label. And then later, when you go to present the package, you can say, Mr. Thomas, how you told me you're the kind of guy who, right? You don't even need to do that because unconsciously they bought into that frame when interacting with you, and they are extremely likely to act now as that person. Otherwise, they're going against their own internal dialogue, which is very hard to do as humans. So that's like very high level stuff. I'll explain it better in another video. Yeah, identity labeling. Let's see. Number 7. Let's do some urgency. Urgency. What do you mean urgency? Well, what is their timeline? Did you discover their timeline earlier in the sales process before you pitched? If not, you should probably do that. But urgency can be something like this. You present the prices. If they feel comfortable to move forward, which temp check, by the way, we get to temp check. Temp check, right? Before urgency, before you even drop the price, you need to do a temp check. And what that might sound like is, okay, Mr. Homeowner, like you go through the options before you drop the price. You do a temp check. You go, okay, Mr. Homeowner, obviously, which one of these are you feeling like might be more for you to get to the solution that you want, right? Which you should have what they want before you present. But which one of these options do you feel really suits you the best, right? Hopefully they go with the top package. That'd be great. But let's say they go with better, whatever. If they say none, then you really fucked up your rapport. You need to work on rapport. But they should say, oh, well, I like the better, or I like the best. I like the top or the second tier. And then you go, okay, Mr. Homeowner, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being we just wasted an hour of our lives, and you hate me and you're going to block my number right after this. Say it with that tone. You have to sound joking when you say that. If you don't sound like you're joking, it's going to make it weird. You have to like smile, giggle a little bit, like laugh it off a little bit, right? And they shouldn't be at a 1. Don't use this on somebody who's obviously a 1. It should never happen anyway. But you go, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you hate me, I just wasted an hour of our time, and you're gonna block me right after I step off, right? And 10 being you love me, you're ready to go right now, you're ready to go, you want us to take care of this, you know we're the company that's gonna do it for you. Where are you at 1 through 10? And they should say anything above a 7. If they say a 6 or below, you fucked up. If they say a 7 or above, you're in the green, right? If they say a 7 or above, go, okay, I'm just curious. Why not a 1? And they will then justify to you why you are good and why they want to work with you. They'll go, oh, well, I really like your reviews. I really like your warranty. I like that you do a 10-year labor warranty. I like that the products that you use, you're certified by them. And I like that you've been in business for 20 years. And you know what? I like you. I get a good feeling about you, is what it should sound like. Something like that. If they go, I don't know, you know, it seems good, I like it, then they're not in rapport. You need to handle rapport better. Assuming they give the actual real answers why they would go with you over another company, then you ask this question. Okay, well, like what would make it a 10? Right? And there are some different ways of asking that. You can be like, okay, outside of like a crystal ball and you see the phenomenal new roof on your house and us taking care of you, like besides a crystal ball where you could see all that in the future, what would make this like a 10 for you? Right? And if they say, oh, well, I don't know, then keep digging on that. Ask it in a different way. Okay, and when like, I'm just curious, like obviously you said you're like a 7 out of 10, maybe like a 10 is not realistic. What would make it like a 9? And they'll be like, oh, well, you know, this other company, they had X, Y, and Z, and I really like that. And, you know, half the time you have that too. And you can be like, oh, that's my bad. We do have that. Like, here that is. Like, so are we feeling like a 10? Are we feeling like a 9 now? And if they go, yep, then you move forward. If they don't move forward. You have to get them to a 9 or a 10 before you can move forward. And a 10 is where you want to be. But a 9 is excusable if you say a crystal ball. Like if you can't see the future, you can never be at a 10. That's acceptable. All right. Then in that case, a 9 is a 10 and they're ready to move forward. So figure out what they're missing. If they're not missing anything and they just need a crystal ball, then you can move forward. And then urgency. So you present the price, you know, you did the good, better, best. You price drop them, they shit their pants. They want the second one. You know, second one's the good option. They're going to go with the second one. They want to go with you. We just need some time to think about it. We just want to pick out the colors. blah, 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 blah. We're going to put this off till next year, blah, 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 blah. You need some urgency. Why should they do it today? Why should they sign today? What is their incentive to sign with you today? That's what we need to figure out. So right now, it is December. A lot of homeowners are trying to put shit off. Yeah, we want to wait till the new year, blah, blah, blah. In December, we're close to the end of the year. You can always use this line, which is, you know what? That's so smart. I actually would probably be saying the same thing if I were you, Mr. Homeowner. Any objection, you always agree with them first. Always agree. Never get combative. Always agree. They are correct. And X, Y, and Z. You're right. And add on my frame. You are right. I'm the authority here. My frame. So you're totally right, Mr. Homeowner. I'd be saying the same thing if I were you. The thing is we've historically seen a 10 to 20% increase every single year from our suppliers. And right now, with your quote at 23K, 33K, 54,59427, right? If we are to put it off for the 2 months that you're talking about, what might actually happen, I understand you're kind of wanting to, work it in the budget, blah, blah, blah. You got a budget for these kinds of things. If we do put it off till February or January, typically at the end of the year, we're seeing a 20+% increase, especially with these tariffs going on, can even be up to 30%. But what I can do, Mr. Homeowner, I understand you want to get this done January, February. What I can do is just with whatever your deposit amount is, a 50% deposit in this scenario might be a little too high, but always try with whatever you're normally doing first. So if you get a 50% deposit, okay, totally understand, Mr. Homeowner. What I could do is, in order to get you on the schedule for the date that they want, when they want it done, and that way we can have your roof installed, blah, 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 repeat the benefits, how that all works. If we do a deposit today of just XYZ, then what I can do is I can order the material now, which will prevent that price increase, and that way it doesn't affect you because we have the material, they can't raise the price on it, and I can lock in that estimate and guarantee you a spot on XYZ day on the calendar. Right? And then go to close. After that, you go to close. Does that sound like does that sound fair enough? Does that work for you? If I was able, this is even better. If I was able to do that for you, would you feel comfortable moving forward? Right? And then if everything's been checked off, that should be a yes. Right? If not, then it's a smoke screen. And you got to handle it like a smoke screen because that's not the real objection. The real objection is not timeline. If they're saying no to that, something else. But if you got the temp check and they opted in, you should be good. If you did the temp check right, you're good. They should sign on that. If you're in a different kind of the year, what you could do is, now, this is kind of, you may or may not want to do it, but it's just another option. I'm just giving you tools. You don't have to use them all. Think of it as a tool belt. Everything that I'm giving you here can go on the tool belt. You use it when it's relevant. So what you can do is do price-based incentive, where you always make up a logical reason. Don't make it up, but have a logical reason on why you can give them a better price if they sign today versus if they push it out a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. And say, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I totally agree with you. Always agree with them. And you say, what actually we have going on right now is we just bulk ordered for a job in this exact color that you picked out. And we have some already in the warehouse, unopened, never used, never touched. We just ordered extra because we always do that in case blah, 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 right? And if we're able to get you on the schedule today, I can give you $1,000, $2,000, whatever your actual incentive is. Make it more than $500. Like they don't care about $500 if they're spending $25,000, right? At least give them $1,000 off, and you can work it into the bid earlier if you know you're going to do this. You can say, what I can do is, because we have that material there, and we're paying warehousing fees on it, we really don't want to do that. What I can do for you is, if I get you on the schedule, and the next if we move forward and I can get you booked onto the schedule, what I can do is I can take $1,000 off for you, $1,000 off, because you would be helping us do X, and obviously we would love to incentivize you to do that. So that's like a goodwill way of doing it. You don't just say, oh, if you sign today, I'll give you $1,000 off. Now you seem like a scammer. Since the beginning of the interaction, now you've burnt everything you just did. If you do it this way, it's a logical reason to why you can give a discount if we move today. Or if you don't like that one, you can say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we have a crew that, we're just waiting to get a job on the schedule. We actually have an opening for 2 weeks in this time frame. It's right around your time frame. If I can get you on the schedule today, I can make sure that the crew's reserved for that date. And I don't know. Imagine something, some logical reason. And, if I'm able to schedule the crews 3 weeks or more, if I'm able to schedule the crews for that day, I know they're free and I can give you XYZ discount, or I can get you free gutters, or I can get you a shingle upgrade. It doesn't always have to be money. By the way, you can say, well, I have $1,000 off. You can say, yep, we have an excess of that material that you want, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Because it's sitting in our warehouse, never been used, never been touched, nothing wrong with it. We just ordered too much on our last job. If we decide to move forward today, it'll help save us on some of our warehousing fees. I'm more than happy to give you a shingle upgrade because that shingle is actually the tier above. Does that sound fair enough? Boom, signature, sign, collect the deposit, right? Now, this video has been long enough. I have more tips. I actually have way more tips. I didn't realize how long this is going to take. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have my number, text me. If you're a client and you have a question about this, you can text me. If you're not a client and you want to become a client, link should be in the description to apply to work with me. And if you have a comment, leave it in the. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll try to reply to as many as I can. Yeah, cheers.